Hello everyone, welcome to another class on CAD counting. And in this part of the lesson, we'll be learning how to align the time frames. So we're looking at the subject or a topic called time frame alignment. Okay, and primarily why we're looking at this is just for us to be able to find our executional time frame. Now I want to go through a certain number of things today, and if you're attentive you'll be able to get almost everything. Okay, but if you're not attentive it might go past you and might really it might really be a waste of time to some of you, because um you won't get the concept and you get angry and kick around and all that. But I'll suggest that instead of doing all that, okay, just try to find a way to get common ground and align yourself and give it time. Give it time. Time is important. Give it time to grow in you so that you'll be able to get consistency in using these concepts. Now, in this current sequence on the monthly of GDP USD, we're looking at the 1, 5, 8, 13, 19, and 24 sequence. Okay, this is supposed to be 7th, right? But remember I told you that some certain sequence can be hastened by certain digit. When this is actually hastened or delayed, it becomes a number higher with 2 or 3 difference. In this case, instead of 7 we're having 8. Okay, so we have 1, 5, 8. It's supposed to be 7, but because this move or this consolidation or retracement or whatever this is, this contraction in price, thank you, that's the word, the contraction in price came in late. All right, so we would say it was delayed by 1 candle. Thus the reason why sometimes we add +1, okay, when we are counting. So this right now is, it was delayed. Simply get that. So we have this sequence. Sometimes when you see that the candle is out of sync and it doesn't align perfectly with the sequence that you know, which is 1, 5, 7, 13, 19, and 24, just sometimes this is 17 too. So this is also out of sync. It's been delayed by 2 candles. So you have 2 intervals, 2 time delays that happen within this price contraction, because this is not a smooth expansion, it's a contraction sequence. So what we are seeing here is a contraction sequence. But what I'm trying to get us to catch today is this move that happened or occurred in this movement here. Now 24, if we go down to the lower time frame, you see that it aligns perfectly with 7, thus connecting us to a reversal. Okay, it should trigger a reversal. Now 1924 is the number of maturity and eldership, and yeah, 24 is the number of eldership. Okay, so this move from here to here has been matured. Remember the 24 elders in the Bible? Yeah, so I kind of tag 24 with that kind of ranking. That's to say something is mature and it's reached the point of almost let's just say completion, just like 9, but no, not like 9, because 9 is more like a reversal kind of a guy. Its retracement is usually deeper than this. If it has to be retracement within the 9th candle, usually have retracement deeper than this. It's aggressive and it's volatile. So this right here is what I call 24 for my retracements. Okay, so primarily you see a move that occurred within this time interval from here to here, just 4 candles. And remember we said in our previous videos that yes, some retracements can happen within 4 candles. Okay, and this is what we're seeing here right now. So what we're trying to aim and target right now is this move that goes up here. So we're trying to find like a refined spot within here where we can take a trade. Okay, so this is what we're trying to do in this current sequence, as we're imagining that in this price action right here has not existed yet. It's not existed yet. It's yet to come. So primarily what this is actually about is just about catching this move from here to here, and it's within the monthly time frame. So we're trying to align it perfectly to the place where we can actually say that, okay, this is a place where things are about to change and we could enter here and exit there. Okay, so primarily the simplest approach to it is that we go down to the 1 week time frame and also count it. Okay, now remember when I told you that 7 is aligning with 24, we start counting here from the green candle. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. 7 is aligning with 24, and so thus we can actually say that this is a point of decision, okay, or decision point. And this decision point help us to understand that a market change in the a market flow is about to end, and then a new gear has been shifted and another flow is about to come in. So if we've been bullish, it's time to go bearish. Okay, so there we go. We have this move from here to here, ending at the 7th. Okay, you could start counting from here and you get that it is 13. So this is 13 and 7 aligning with 24. So you can start counting 7. Okay, remember we counted here to here 7. So we start 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Notice that we can count from this region, this region, this region to align perfectly and give us what exactly would be the concluding outcome around this region. So that what we are doing all this count for is when we have these numbers 1 3 5 7, okay, 8 9, okay, when we find them within regions like this, they're important. That's to say that this move right here is interesting. It's a point of decision, so we can actually take a trade within that region. Okay, we align time frame with that same notion. We have 13, 21, 24, 33, okay, 31. Remember those special numbers we used in the sequence? They are all important. 17, 14. Take note of all those numbers, okay, because once if you see them converge and diverge, we will look into that in the future slide. And let's see, okay, let's see this part of contraction we tend to leave outside of what we want to do. We just leave it because we know that this is a retracement, and how much of the candle we had here, it's important that we note that also. Okay, so for the weekly, this is the 16th candle, counting from up here. I think we should do it together. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16, right? All right, so we have 16 on the weekly right here. Hold that thought. This price action we say has not occurred yet, right? So let's hold that thought, okay? And on the weekly, we've just done our counting that gave us 16 at this point. And also on the daily, we go down on the daily, all right, and we count from this region down to this place again. Okay, 1 2 3. Why this place? Because it's a retracement, and where the retracement ended, okay, up onto this place, we want to count and know exactly what would be the end of this move right here. Okay, and so we'll start from here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25. Notice how that we have 16, which equals 7, and 25, which equals 7. When you take the digital root reduction number of 25, you get 7. You take the digital root reduction number of 16, you get 7. That's by simply adding 1 plus 6 equals 7 and 2 plus 5 equals 7. That's how you take digital root reductions. So primarily this is what we do, okay, within these regions. And one thing I want you to note is that 25 and 16 are diverging. They're divergent numbers. When price retraces or consolidate as numbers converge each other. Okay, so price find retracements or they consolidate when numbers converge. That's to say, if we are to have 7 here and 7 here, like instead of 16 and 25 aligning perfectly, we would have a move here that would cause a form of retracement, right? So when we have either retracement will begin or will begin to chop around, consolidating without going anywhere, just literally. So when you see that numbers are converging, that's to say you're counting maybe here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then all of a sudden you count again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it's aligning perfectly with this region. Here has been 7, here has been 7, or maybe here has been 21, here has been 21. Okay, when you start counting from here and then you end here and it's still 21, you start counting from here and it comes to this place again, still 21. That's convergence. That's to say you started from different region and all of a sudden in the cycle it all ends at the same number. That's a convergence. But a divergence is when you're having something like 8 and 15. Okay, those numbers are far away from each other and they have no form of collision whatsoever. Okay, so that's a divergence. So this is a divergent point, and also notice that the two divergences add up to each other. So we have a divergence that when you merge gives you a convergence. Take note of that and go and back test it. Okay, this is how you know reversals. Okay, this is how you know reversals. So primarily, remember, we follow the ICT concept. So you have to look around this region to make sure that the liquidity pool has been tapped into and you've entered a fair value gap. So that aligning with this will give you a precision turning point, a precise turning point. Okay. Now, if you enter here, you could ride the wave all the way up at this very spot. But take for example, you were scared and you'd not wanted to take this trade immediately. Then you go down to the daily time frame. Maybe you're not a, let's just say, a position size trader, or maybe a long time trader that trade with months and weeks. Okay, let's just say you got scared and said, well, what if this divergence doesn't give me what I want? So you fail to enter on this date. Okay, and then all of a sudden you just wait to see, you want to get more information concerning what's going on, so you decided to count the daily too and watch as it prints. And from on the first day you saw that it did a consolidation, and retraces. Okay, and then all of a sudden on the 5th day it pushed higher. Notice how that day 1 up to day 5 is merging, it's in convergence, it's in divergence with remember, divergence 1 and 5, they are far away from each other, the numbers away from each other. So we have 1, 2, 3 and 5. Okay, 5 right here simply means that this number and this number are in divergence to each other, and so we should be expecting that a perfect alignment on the weekly 1 and 5 daily is in divergence with each other. That's to tell you that a move here is about to occur aside, that's completely against this current move that's lower. Okay, it switches trend. If we were retracing, expect a move away from it. Okay, a change in direction occurs when you see these numbers diverge. Okay, when these numbers diverge, a change occurs. If we're going lower, expect to start going higher. Okay, so primarily, if you don't want to use this divergence, maybe you're still scared, and so you decided not to take the trade around this region, don't worry, there's still more opportunities. And so you decided to go down, well, from the daily you scoop down to the 1 hour. I jumped the 4 hours because the 4 hours kind of is sometimes a bit messy. But anyways, let's look at I don't want you to get the wrong idea. Okay, This is important. Refining time frames quite important. Remember, this is the 4 hours. Okay, we didn't check the 4 hour chart. I kind of jumped that part. Um, all in the sense that I want to use a more choppy chart to be able to show you how that is actually in alignment. The 1 hour, okay, the 1 hour, the 1 hour weekly and the 4 hours actually have their ones in the same spot. Take note of that. 1 1 1. Okay, so we have new beginnings within the same span. Understand that this one right here and this weekly's one is something that we've already noted from the higher time frame. This weekly is something we've noted from the higher time frame. And when you begin to start your count, and then you see that one is in close proximity with the current point where we have one here, then you know that this region right here is a region of new beginning. It's engineering liquidity for a new move, right? So remember that the daily and the weekly are aligning and in divergence, and we said that this point is a decision point. Okay, now take key note that the 1 hour number 9 number also ends within this region. Look at this: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. It makes the low. Remember we said that 9 is the number for completion. So when you go down to the lower time frame and you see that there's a perfect alignment between this guy and this guy in divergence, and then when you go up into the higher time frames, also you see that this weekly is in alignment also. All right, this weekly is in divergence. They align perfectly in divergence with each other. Okay, and they equate to the same value, even though we have a divergence, but somehow they equate to the same number. We know that this is a decision point, and so we wait. And this is how I use this concept. There are numerous ways to do it, but this is how me I apply it, and it's effective. Okay, so primarily I go down into the lower time frame and I add all these alignments together. I kind of note that the weekly is in divergence. Okay, the weekly and or the daily are in divergence with each other. Okay, so we start from the daily down here and we have a perfect divergence between the two, and that is a major reversal point. So in that sense, we already know exactly that a reversal is bound to occur within this region. So on the 1 minute time frame, you're basically just doing a simple count from a very obvious high. Okay, the high has to be extremely obvious and it has to be clean. Okay, so you see it, and then all of a sudden you do your count from there to the place where it ends, and once you get 9, you know that you've reached completion. Whatever this retracement was, you've reached completion. And so all of a sudden you're just leaving all these hours go by back onto when it gets here. Now count: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Notice how that 10 ends around here. Pay keen attention to what I'm doing. Notice I did not start from the red candle. Okay, this doji right here is not what I want. Okay, people call it hammer or pinball whatsoever. I don't do all those things. But primarily what I want you to know is that we start from here. Okay, and after this count is done, it ended at the new beginning number 10. Notice. You might want to watch this video multiple times. 10 is the same thing as 1. That's 1 plus 0 equals 1. Its digital root reduction is 1. So you start counting. At this point, you can now find the sequence that's in play. As you can see, it's the 1-3 sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Delayed. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and all this price action is going on like this. You don't mind, because you've already entered here. I know that definitely you have a layer of PD arrays. There's a break, there's an order block, there's a fair value gap, there's another order block here, and so you know this region is secure. There's a breaker in between right here, and all of this actually kind of like shield you from whatever is going to be a quick move down, maybe to take your stop loss, or maybe hit your stop loss that should be placed around here. Okay, so if you enter on this candle, stop loss should be at least 2 to 3 ticks, or maybe 5 ticks away from this region, so it should be lower. So all this move in price, you're just watching, because you know you framed your setup based on a higher time frame sequence. I know that this reversal occurring right here is going to take weeks to complete. Your target should be up here. That's a region of liquidity if you're taking a long time move. But if it's just short, I would suggest that you close at the 13th candle on the hourly. That's right here. So with that, I think we've come to the end of time frame alignment. If you have any question, I can go through each and every one of them and answer it. Should in case the need should arise for me to make another video, I will, but it's kind of a system. You can make mistakes, but you have to backtest this for many days. Learn to perfect it. I promise you, when I saw this concept the first time, I was told by Denzin, okay, that's someone who taught time dilation theory and kind of like explained this thing a bit, but then he stopped teaching it for some time, and then he started a mentorship, which later on became private, and then all of a sudden he stopped teaching it. But before he would stop, he kind of taught this explicitly on his channel, but not to the point where everybody understood. So I took my time and went into the charts, and I began to ascribe certain meaning to certain numbers that he gave, and I began to study. And over time, I never even needed these sequences. I understood how they were generated. I understood how the algorithm worked based on each and every one of them. So I no longer needed sequences, because I would know where the sequence is about to end and where one is about to begin. So I kind of took everything he taught and the ones he didn't want to disclose, and kind of went aggressively researching. What I found was quite different from what he was teaching. Found out that most of what he's teaching is just basically the surface of it. He never wanted to show everything out publicly and make it very simple for everybody to follow, even though he kind of hinted most of them. But I took my time and I went into the charts and really prayed before I got full understanding of how these books are printed. What we see as charts is basically let's just say an already done deal. We're just watching a reprint primarily. So what I want you to first of all understand right now is that in this market, there are certain things you will discover when you begin to explore this content. Okay, when you begin to hunger and search deeper for these secrets, okay, you would come to the understanding of all that there is to the circles and geometry and even music and biblical numerology. You would come to understand that a combination of all these things with vibration and harmonics kind of give you the perfect tool for predicting market circles and taking trades, knowing exactly when retracements will happen, where consolidations are bound to occur. And you could literally go through all of Dan Zenoze's content and you wouldn't find any of those teachings in them. But if you actually take some of the tweets that ICT did many years ago and you go into research on all of them, that's how I was able to understand a bit about um what this is all about. Okay, that's how I was able to understand most of what I know concerning candle counting, or what I later termed as card counting, because that's how ICT would refer to himself. He would call himself a card counter, and I kind of loved the name. I said, "Wow, okay, um, he already goes by ICT, and so, well, why can't I just be the card counter since I now know how to count the cards, how to read the tape?" And so, that's how the name the card counter came in. He would give us analogy, trying to hint us about how the algorithm works and how we can actually crack the algorithm. He would give us on Twitter Spaces hints and certain directions using the analogy of a card counter. And so over time we kind of loved his Twitter Spaces because they were filled with so many hints and coded messages that kind of gave us direction on where to go hunting. Okay, he would talk about his macros. Yeah, you can actually trade just macros, just the time element of price action. Okay, or let's just say market. You could actually trade just that, just the macros. The macros and time alignments, they actually are literally how the market was built. So you can actually trade just that. You would come to understand all of those things when you go deeper into technical analysis using the ICT concept and also applying TDT. And I just did this as a way of giving you a hunger because I'm also researching this, I'm also back testing this, I'm also going through so many nights of study in regards to this. Not primarily this anymore because I now know how these are done, how these are printed. What I'm more concerned about right now is how to catch the exact high of the day. I know what the high of some days are, but I can't get it for every day, and that's kind of my craving right now. I want to know every single day's high and low, every single day. That's what I'm going for. So I already know certain days, highs and lows, when it will form and what time it will literally be closing its high and low for the day. So these are informations that you would come by if you also go searching. But you can't teach that online unless you want to lose your life or something. It's not very wise to do that. So primarily it's important that you go into research. This is, like I said, a way of just giving you a drive, a hunger for more. And I wish you the goods in life and the best in your pursuit. And also, remember, any question, just ask. And good luck. Happy trading.